Alright, we're gonna get it going. I should turn my phone's Spotify off, like. There we go. Alright, let's go. Streaming. Time to stream. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Oops. Should change that. Ba 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 da da. Ba 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 da. Ba ba da 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 da. figure out what I'm doing. Beeper. There we go. God, these are old. Oh, they're pre-sketched, it looks like, for this one. Alright. Gotta figure out which one this belonged to for memes. This says expressions too, but I don't know if it's from the same expressions that my old ones were. Gotta check my tumblies. Bitty. Search. Ask. Hello, go. What's up? Stardew's good though. I'm trying to keep my mind off the polls because I'm losing. I'm losing today. No, not emotes today. These are ask memes. I was looking at my Tumblr and I'm like, I should really clear out my actual inbox. So I have a bunch of memes that I had asked for that are, some of these are like multiple years old. That have been sitting, waiting to be finished for like God knows how long. 34 minutes and I'm losing. So I'm actually trying to find the specific meme these expressions are for. Hi, Mouse. I can't remember if I said hi, Mouse already. Doesn't hurt to say it again. I think the worst part is like a lot of the memes that are in my inbox, they're literally like years old. Like there's, so I actually took a I took a screenshot of my entire inbox. So it's several, because I have it on pages, so it's several, I have like 72 asks in my inbox, and I don't know what all of them are. Like, some of them have context that I can't remember. And I don't care if I'm showing this on stream, just because, they're asks that I'll be answering publicly anyway. But like, there's some in here I'm like, I have to go find them and I have to like actually look for them. Like, it's wild. Trying to think, there was one, it's like, so like, these music note ones, I believe this was a thing where it's like you send me a music note and I draw a thing relating to it, like a song that goes with one of my characters or something. And I have one of them open on here, because this one is one, this one is sitting in my drafts folder instead. But it is one that I was working on, and it's like, it's almost there, because it's just a sketch, I just hadn't finished it yet. And there's some from Halloween of like 2 years ago. But see, there's ones like these, like C4 for Merlin, C1 Ren, A3 Marcus Morgan, Hat Kid, Conrad, and stuff like that. It's just like, I have to go find the meme that was the actual one that has to do. Because see, here's more of them. I believe these ones are outfit memes, I think. So like, there's just a bunch of ass that I've just like gotta like try to figure out what is the context behind them. So like this one is a bunch of outfit memes, and I had some of them sketched, I just didn't finish them. So it's just trying to finish up stuff. To keep my mind off the fact that I am losing. Yeah, that's Kraft. Kraft has tattoos. If you're wondering about the stitch markings, they're tattoos. TLC Sun in the Sea Kraft has stitch like Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas tattoos. He thought they were fitting, considering that they're Taylor. So, yeah, Kraft, and then Asuna. That one looks like it's ready for Eclipse. I think this one is a Steve. Yeah, so there's Steve. There was a Rue one. Oh, this one I have to finish with Snatcher and a dress. There is a Eclipse. There's a cute one with Kai. This one's funny because this is actually very similar to her school uniform, because Kai wears a school uniform, so this one's actually very similar to her school uniform. So you can see I had a bunch of them like, I have them saved on here, so it's just I need to actually, like, get to fixing them. Though I might resketch some of them. The Kai one's fine, I don't mind that one. But the Rue one definitely gets to be resketched. Look how thin he was! Look at my boy! Look how thin my boy was! Like, you compare that to how he actually is now. Like, if I open up the picture I did of him last night on stream, like, you compare this, like, look how thin he was! Look at my twig of a son! Oh, and because I'm annoying, if you have a Tumblr and you haven't voted yet, go vote for Eclipse. Please! Go vote Eclipse! I want to win! I'm losing! Please! Please! Vote Eclipse! Please! I'll just stare at you with my sad eyes from the corner. I'll just stare with my big old teary eyes from the corner. You guys just get sad shrimp while I wait. Commit voter fraud for shrimp today. Voter fraud for shrimp. Vote for quips. Get your friends. Vote for the poof mom. Oh god, I gotta put it back. Back. Go back, you little shrimpy menace. Said shrimp pies don't affect you. God, I gotta completely like resketch this one. I've the only way you could commit voter fraud is you'd need multiple accounts. That's how you would actually commit voter fraud. Like, I've shared it in every server that I feel comfortable sharing it in, just because it's like, obviously I can't share links in certain servers and stuff like that, but I've shared it with my friends and I'm like, hi, please help. I'm being fucking annoying. Vote for clips. I would love just to tie it as I would love to just completely bork the system as a 50-50. But as it currently is, I am losing. Like, a bunch of people seem to have signed in at the last minute to vote for the other person. So I'm just sitting here like, weeps. Weeps. I was actually, when I first started stream, I was working on a blush meme. Look at this guy. Look at this dude. Look at this guy. And then Eclipse fucking just KOs him. There is a picture somewhere of the rabbit, like, taking the husky's laptop with her, like, inner tongue. And the husky's just staring at it like, yeah, this happens. Yep, I found it. Hold on, let me just... This one. She's just standing on the desk and just... Because it's the husky just working away and you just see the little gremlin that rabbit is down there. And then just being a menace. Crawling on the desk. On the desk. Second mouth opening. Tongue is out. Yeet. I think I'm funny. Yeah, pretty much. It's a why are you like this? It was an RP group. DeviantArt. Because we met in Wormwood, didn't we? Because we met through Hakabe, and because it was like Deka and then Hakabe and stuff like that, and like that's how we ended up meeting. And then David and Hakabe became a ship, and then, you know, the rest is history. Now you gotta put up with my ass for eternity. Jiki jiki. But you know. Excuse you. I love you too. God, it's weird to draw Rue's, like, actual legs, because the dude's got legs. It's just funny, because normally I don't draw his legs, because normally he wears cargo pants. There are 20 minutes left! I want to win! I'm gonna lose. I'm so sad. I got so far, but this is where it ends. Oh, I am so sad. Like, I am legitimately a bit upset, but it's fine. Just gonna be in my little subby subs. Some things aren't meant to be. I'm not gonna beg Alexia with that, like, nah. I reblogged it on my Tumblrs, but... I'm just like, I have my phone open and I keep refreshing it to look at the poll, and I just keep... I wanna win, but I can't win. They're still winning. You're fine. You're so cute. God, I love you. You guys don't know, but Joey is currently sitting in my desk chair, being absolutely adorable. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Da, 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 do, 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 do. Yeah, I'm definitely losing. I am so losing. Screams quietly. Gently sobs. He's okay. He's okay. I will survive. I will survive. Alas, we will go down. Dude, this is not helping my chest pain. Oh, I will sad shrimp. I will. I'm sad shrimp. I'm sad as shrimp. I am the saddest. No, unfortunately, the losers round already existed. So the person I'm actually against is the winner from the losers round, and she actually entered in for the losers round, so she wasn't an original one. But is the winner of the losers round. Yeah, I had to enter a code on something and I forgot it was hooked to my numlock pad, so it swapped all of my shrimps emotes because my shrimps emotes are hooked to my numberlock pad. So that was called me being a fucking dumbass. So yeah, the losers round has already existed and it's not gonna get a second one. I mean, I've already gotten farther than I thought I was gonna get, but still, it's like, oh, to get this far. And they're not a bad let me put it this way. I don't have any malice against the person I'm against. I'm just competitive as fuck, so I'm just like, I want to win. But I want to win because I want to win. Because competitive. But I don't think there's any chance of me winning because there's 12 minutes left. Actually, there's less than 12 minutes left, and I'm losing, I think, by like at least 6 votes. I want to say I'm losing by like 6 votes, so I would need to know at least 6 other Tumblr people to vote for her to at least tie it. Because if we tie it, both of them move on to the next round. So yeah. Because they have 53%, I have 47, and there's 10 minutes left. There's no way I can get, like, more people to vote for me right now. It was a good fight, guys. We tried. Tumblr are cat people. But I mean, also the fact that almost 200 people were voting on this, I think is pretty... Like I said, it's just I'm competitive, so I'm sad. I think one of the funniest things is remembering this dude is like it's a full ass man. He got hairy legs. Oops, I laughed so loud I woke the cat up. Look at this. This is a man who is not having a good time. He does not feel like the prettiest princess at the ball. You'll never guess who's holding the camera. Yeah, I lost. I lost. Now I'm sad. Got sad bunny hours. Look, even her little hair is down. We tried, fellas, we tried. Do you guys want to hear how I hurt Eclipse more in a rewrite? So, do you guys remember there's a chapter in TLC in which it's Christmas time, but they have a slightly different Christmas festival? And Eclipse has to, like, do a dance and everything for it. I made it worse. I made it worse. Because originally she just had a dance, and then she had, like, a big moment near the end where she got, like, exhausted and everything. Well, I had thoughts. So I may have added in the fact that she got to get fairy wings ripping out of her back, and then she has to fly close to the moon, and then she falls back towards the earth with her wings disintegrating. So she'll fall straight into the earth. And that's typically why she can't walk back first thing in the morning, is because she breaks her legs. But also the pain of the wings ripping from her flesh, because it only does it for that, so it's a different pain than turning into a werewolf. I say all this about hurting these two while I have him dressed up as a pretty mermaid princess with her taking a photo, but yeah, I've been cooking. There's a husky facepalm. There's husky facepalm in the server. Yeah, there's a husky facepalm. But if you like, I could, would you like to have a little reading? A little... I can read ya a little bit of, what I did. Gin says no. Let me slightly change my music up. Where is it? There we go. I just want a slightly softer song for when I'm reading. There we go. I'll read you a good part of the snippet. Seems they want me to help. Though, do I really seem like the Cape kind of prince? He sang rather smugly. Eclipse gave a huff and he walked to her, holding a hand out. So, go over it with me. She stared at the prince who was still holding his hand to her. She wanted to force him to go home, to go to bed, to not just witness her being inhuman. She looked to his outstretched palm. She then looked to his face, which even in the moonlight, she could clearly make out the soft and gentle half-smile he wore. Eclipse took a deep breath and placed her hand in his. She felt his cold fingers wrap around her and gasped when he suddenly pulled her close. She stumbled, flinching when his free hand gripped the small of her back as if they were dancing together. She could feel her heart as it raced in her chest and looked up at him as he kept smiling. He was just looking at her with a look that was making her feel the blood rushing to her face, warming it in the dark winter night. If he wasn't cursed already, she'd have cursed him for how he always managed to play with her heart. So? He asked, breaking her from her thoughts. He tilted his head as he heard a few giggles from the sidelines and turned to look at the gathered creatures. He frowned, a light scowl. Her hand touched his scruffy cheek. He instantly looked back at her. Don't glare. They would curse you for a sin like that. Eclipse sighed as she smiled. Well, I guess I'm not talking you out of it now, huh? She asked with a laugh of her own. Shade beamed. Nope, I'm helping. What do I need to do? How do I do it? The merman felt almost giddy with his excitement. More and more he was awake. He often despised his sleepwalking, but in this moment, he was thriving for the fact he'd walked into something like this. Eclipse pulled away, holding his hand to lead him, her silver gown and hair fluttering beneath the full moon, which seemed even brighter in the clearing. The laurels on her head, the silver gold bells that hung from her limbs, the fluttering of the fabric, the way her hair flowed smoothly in the air that was thick with anticipation. I wrote thick the wrong way. I meant to read thick just because thick with anticipation, but I wrote thick. I apparently typed thick as THICC, as in like thick cake. How the fuck did I manage to do that? Oh, gods. I'll have to fix that. I wrote thick like fucking thick cake. That's terrible. Oh. Hi, Bringer. Hi. I'm being mean to the Blorbos. I lost the polls. I'm savage, so I'm being mean to Blorbos. You got this, Bringer, I know. We're here for you. I'd give you a big old shrimpy hug. Shrimpy hug through the screen. His mouth moved before his thoughts could stop them. I really can tell you're descended from the Fae, because right now, I think I understand how men get lost in the woods. His voice was a mumble, but he caught himself and felt the heat in his cheeks. He couldn't believe he said that. He said that! To her! Why? Though, he did find it captivating. It was Eclipse! He shook his head as he saw her staring wide-eyed and flushed. Ignore me, I'm still half awake, he fibbed. Eclipse scratched her cheek as she looked away. He was really bad for her poor heart. He had no idea either. She sighed but smiled as she looked to where she'd left the wine bowl. She rolled her eyes, seeing a few beings sipping from it, and moved to nudge them with her foot. So I need you to step in the wine to offer to the ground which holds the bodies of those who pass on. It's an offering for safe travels. She smiled as she watched him tense up from the chill. His breath clouded the air with his deep gasp. Eclipse took both of Shade's hands in hers. She frowned as she thought about it. Then we just dance. I've only done this with someone else a handful of times, and he has no feet. She chuckled as the merman gripped her back and looked at her with that smile again. It was a smile unlike the one he wore in public. It wasn't quite as sharp as the one he wore when he sneered. It was wide, yes, similar to his sneer, but it wasn't quite so intense. But it wasn't so forced either. She could see the crease beneath his eyes, his teeth peeking from his lips as it was pulled up. "You have a nice smile," she stated, watching it drop in his confusion at her statement. Shade let go of her to rub his cheek. "Oh, I guess I was smiling." He sighed and pinched his brows. "Don't be sorry, it was a good smile. I prefer that to whatever the hell that face you put on in public." Eclipse gave a barking laugh as she moved to hold his hand again. As he moved to hold her hand again. As they moved, she stopped. "Oh, wait." She undid one of her bracelets to hook it onto his hand. Shade raised a brow as he held his wrist up to inspect it. "We need to signal the spirits who we're calling. The bell invokes them for the moon's prayer," she explained, "since we're calling the wisp." "Ah." He nodded as they began to move. At first, it was a little uncomfortable, stepping on rocks and branches. He honestly was annoyed every time he stumbled, but looking down at Eclipse, who didn't even flinch, just helped him back to his feet. He recalled her mentioning the fact she'd come home with bloody feet. He understood what she meant, but he wasn't happy. The fact she did this by herself typically and then just came home to a sleeping household? He sighed. He held her hand firm as he steered himself to ignore the cutting of the forced litter in his feet. He focused on her. He stared at her eyes, which were wide and staring right back at him. He'd never really paid attention to how large her eyes sat on her face. Her silver eyelashes that framed the dual-colored irises, her softly pink lips. Pink lips? He stared as he realized how much brighter it was, or his eyes adjusted, but he could see clearer. He looked up to the sky, but Eclipse reached to move his head. "Don't stare at the moon," she warned. "Focus on the earth as we dance. She is watching us, not the other way around." Shade gulped at the warning as a shiver went through him. He squeezed her hand as they continued to waltz the clearing. Slowly, though, the stone's bite and the sting of the sticks was less and less. He was even less concerned by the watchful eyes around the woods as they danced. He kept his eyes on the werewolf in front of him. On the sound of the bells, he focused. He grit his teeth to keep from panting as he was pushing his body to keep pace with her. But he chose to join her. They continued their somber but joyful dance. Eclipse started to laugh when he decided to spin her, slamming back against his chest with her giggles. The tension that sat heavy like an unseen fog in the forest clearing seemed to melt away as they started laughing with the pounding of their feet in the soil. Flowers bouncing up whenever they touched down, slowly filling the once barren circle with greenery and glowing flowers. Moon tears? Shade noted as he saw the lighting get brighter with the flowers. "It is a moon prayer," Eclipse reminded him as she heard a deep bellowing ring. She sighed and her face turned red. "Do you mind, closing your eyes? I do have to do this next part alone. You, sit on the ground while you wait, just please don't look at me." She whined a bit in her embarrassment. Shade pouted. "Why?" "Because it's... look, please." She pushed on his chest as she tried to hide the redness in her cheeks. I think it's just embarrassing how I look during the next part." Shade smirked. He reached to run a finger down her jaw as he watched her tense up and looked at him with wide eyes and deep red cheeks. It was adorable. He froze and pulled away. He thought she was adorable? What was that thought in his head? He slapped his cheeks, gasping when he caught a rock and fell down on the ground. He watched her run towards the center of the clearing. "Close your eyes," she snapped at him as she turned on heel. Shade pouted and rolled his eyes. He covered them with his hands. "Fine," he shouted back. Eclipse sighed and brought her hair over her shoulder. She hated this part. The bloody feet were fine. She could deal with the pain of even her werewolf transformations. Wisps began to gather around her. They crowded her as she looked up at the moon, whose eyes dripped blood. It fell down to the ground and hit her. The wisps all pressed against her. The sensation of burning, the hot heat that hit her skin. She wanted to cry out, but she knew if her voice carried, he would open his eyes. She bit her lip until the blood began to drip as the burning grew hotter. She felt her bones creaking as they shifted along her back. She could feel the stinging of her flesh ripping open. She bit harder on her lip to muffle her cries. On her knees, she gripped the earth. She had to bear with it for a moment. Bloody tears stained her cheeks. Slowly, the stretched skin and bones settled in its temporary form. She felt her body shudder as she looked over her shoulder at the dark wings that extended from her back. She swore her father never had such painful moon prayer transformations. He just took his wolf form and gallivanted. She hated the fact her mother had some hidden fae in her own bloodline. She took the help of a serpentine spirit who slithered near her and stood up. Behind her, the wings of feather and scale spread forth. Large wings like a I can talk, I swear. Behind her, the wings of feather and scale spread forth. Large wings like a blue lunar moth tipped with the inky feathers and spikes at the top of her moon-crested wings. The light of the wisp caused her wings to shimmer and sparkle as she began to move. The ground shifted beneath her feet as the plants grew. She flew from platform of giant leaf to platform of giant leaf, closer and closer to the moon. The wisp, they all followed after her. Higher and higher, she flew into the sky with the sound of an unheard drum, rhythmic with each passing moment. Her hands could nearly touch the surface of the goddess who stared at her. The wisps all shot past her and into the night sky, joining the stars in the heavens. She watched them join the stars. As she watched them join the stars, she began to fall. The feathers tore from the wings as they began to disintegrate. Nice. Well, thank you for the Prime 1-month sub. She closed her eyes to wait for the impact of the earth. Cold hands and a grunt. Eclipse gasped when she was caught. He sank to the ground with the force of her fall. He couldn't help grinning over the fact he had managed to pull that off, his golden eyes looking at her as she stared confused, her blood covering his hands from the open wounds on her back. A wisp zipped by their faces, trying to race up and join the rest in the sky. With it joining its friends, there was an eruption of light, and suddenly a quiet fell over the woods. "Are you stupid?" Shade asked, clearly out of breath as he sat on the ground with the injured wolf on his lap. "Falling off? When you told me not to look. How'd that thing not hit me in the head? You could have been hurt." Eclipse was speechless. She opened her mouth to talk, but only stammered. She could feel her face burning as she moved to bury her face into his nightshirt. She listened to his heart pounding to hide the pounding of her own. After sitting in silence for a bit, Shade sighed. "Was that normal?" She nodded. He looked to the plants littering the ground. "You'd get hurt. It wouldn't be enough to kill me." "But you'd still be hurt." He sighed and brushed his bangs back. "Even if it doesn't kill you, you don't need to get hurt." He looked at his hand. He swore she had blood on him, but it seemed to have dissipated. "It's okay." Eclipse sighed and moved to sit up. She frowned. Even as she hadn't broken her legs like normal, they were still stiff and sore. Walking home was going to be a real trek. Shade looked at her as she sat on his lap. He looked at the moon, which now seemed normal. Once more, instead of the nightmare he'd seen earlier in their dance. He looked down at his night clothes, half relieved and disappointed. He looked at Eclipse, whose face seemed gaunt, his hand moving to wipe blood off her lip. "I'm watching next time." He grunted and moved to stand. He knelt down and held his arms back. "Come on, we're done right. Time for home?" Eclipse stared at him confused. "Shade? You're not moving your legs. Can you even walk? Come on. Up," he urged. "I may not be as strong as you are, but I can at least do this." Eclipse felt her face burning and shifted to get on his back. She squeaked as his cold hands touched her bare thighs beneath her dress. With another grunt, he got himself upright and walked back the way they'd come. Quietly, they walked through the shimmering woods, clouds of steam from their hot breath. Shade looked to see Eclipse resting her head on his shoulder. He gave a soft smile, watching her eyelids grow heavy and drop. "Thank God for my gifted attraction, I guess." he mumbled as he walked through the overly silent woods. He thought back to the dance, the sight of her falling through the sky. Who would ask someone to do such a thing? Why did she have to do that? He furrowed his brow. She called it a moon prayer. He wondered if his brother had an idea about it. He wished he'd listened to his mother's stories more as a child. More so such a thing. He thought of the blood down her back, on her face, a bloody sacrifice to the moon. He wondered if there was a sun prayer that matched. Thinking about it, despite the fact he had grown up practicing Solgarian rites, he never met a priest of the sun. In fact, he paused as he thought about it in the still of the woods. It was strange. The moon had temples and priestesses. It had rituals and prayers. But for the sun, he couldn't recall the thing. He knew of their praising of the sun-drop pendants that those who chosen wore. But there was a single temple, and even it was foggy. Was there a temple? He was struggling to think. No, it was the royal family. He realized in a thought. While the sun was God, people prayed to his family. It was strange. He pinched his brows as he continued walking home. As he trudged through the woods, he felt the woman on his back shift. He felt sore from dancing and carrying her. That made him upset. He should be able to carry her with ease. She didn't need to carry her burdens so much. It annoyed the merman that he, a ship-sinking monster, was struggling with one human woman. He shifted his grip as he got to the house and pushed the door open with his foot. Making sure to close it again, he sighed as tiredness seemed to eat into his bones. Carrying her to the living room, he set her down on the bed. Shade looked for the first aid kit and went to get a washcloth. As he stopped in the bathroom, he was surprised by the look on his face. He didn't look as tired as he felt. If anything, he seemed to have a light glow to him. He snorted, wondering if it had to do with the magic in the woods. He got a warm cloth and a small dish of water and headed back to the living room. Side light on, he looked at Eclipse, who was sleeping still despite her injuries. He gave a small sigh and knelt beside the couch. He reached to brush her hair from her face. Smiling, he stood up and helped to take the jewelry off. Shifting to sit on the couch with her, he turned her so he could see her back properly. He saw the still fresh wounds from where her wings had been and began to use the warm cloth on her skin. She shuddered and her eyes fluttered open. She turned to look up at him as he focused on cleaning. She flinched a bit. Careful. Oh, you woke up. Sorry. He tilted his head apologetically. I can do it easier if you lay on your stomach for me. She nodded and rolled over fully, face red as he washed her back of what remained of the blood. Normally it just, goes away by morning. Noticed that considering it had been on my hands, but wasn't the next moment. He grabbed the ointment to spread it over the longer gashes. She shivered from his touch as he worked it on, and grabbed the gauze to place over. And that's where I finished writing. I was writing it right before stream. But yeah, that's what I was working on earlier. I made it worse. I made Eclipse fall out of the sky. Because I'm an asshole. I think I'm funny. I like to think I'm funny. Oops, that is not the brush I wanted. Oops, that is the wrong size. I think his hairy legs is what makes me laugh the most. Anyway, with that done, back to drawing. Back to making art! It's so funny to draw Rue, but I have to, like, because this is technically supposed to be TLC Rue, and my brain always wants to draw Sun in the Sea Rue, which is slightly different. And it's like, no, Babbitt, you can't just draw your scruffy ocean hobo. Even if I want to draw my scruffy ocean hobo. He is a scruffy ocean hobo. Aww. You're so cute. Not being rude to him. It's true. Yeah, you can use them if you, because technically it counts as a subscription. So you can use the emotes. He's the prettiest princess. Oops, I forgot to... This man is not having it. I like tonight I'm drawing probably one of the most unhinged things out of the 3 nights that I've streamed this week. And yet it's the quietest I've been all week. Oh, Joey's been here the entire time. Joey's in my desk chair. Look at this pretty princess. Ain't he the prettiest princess in the world? Have fun. Oh, it's time for you all to have a sippy. Sip, 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 sip. You grab your beverage, you have the sippy. I've got mine. I actually have 2 drinks with me. Aw, Joey's dreaming. Wish you'd bring those dreams of hunting into reality and actually kill the mice, young man. Nice. Mouse, you don't understand. He literally stared at a mouse on the in my room yet earlier. Like, we both heard the mouse, and so I got off my bed to go look and see if I was hearing things or not. And Joey had gotten off the chair to go as well, and he just I moved something on the floor to see if I was hearing it in the right direction, and there's just a mouse vibing. And Joey just sat there. Like, when I call him the worst mouser, he's so bad at mousing. He's such a bad mouser. Like, he literally, like, he didn't even, like, butt wiggle or anything. He just sat there, looking at it like, that sure is a mouse. And I was just looking at him, and I'm like, I was waiting to see if the cat was gonna do something. Otherwise, I would have just grabbed the mouse myself, because that's how slow it was, is I could have grabbed the mouse myself. Yeah, he just stared at it like, that's a mouse. Sure is a mouse. Mother, did you see there is by chance mouse? And I was just like, Joseph. Yeah, he just sat on the floor watching. Not a fucking single care in the world. But that's why Spud and I call him the worst mouser in the world, is because he's quite literally a very bad mouser. He has maybe a total. So, he is a 9-year-old cat. And if I was to roughly estimate the amount of mice he has killed in his lifetime, 2. In his lifetime, he has maybe killed 2 mice. I have found more mice dead in the house from accidents, like falling in a place that they couldn't crawl back out of, than the cat actually killing it. Like, Clyde used to be such a good mouser. Like, that cat was the mouser. She was so good at it. And it's just like, we never had this issue with Clyde. And, like, Bonnie and Wah, like, we did have a slight mouse problem with them. But, to be fair, by that point, they were so old. And Wah had arthritis. And just... But Joey, he's just never been good at mousing. It's not his thing. And it's so funny. I have actually been looking at it. Yeah, I have actually been looking at PNG Tuber Plus. I have a couple of tutorials saved on YouTube to watch. I just hadn't had the time to sit down and watch them yet because it kind of like all came out recently and I was busy preparing for my niece's birthday last week. I have actually been looking at it to potentially use for shrimp just because it would have that nice simple bit of a like little extra bit of animation to it. Especially when I come because because I have a sketch for a new model that I was gonna do for next year. I was supposed to do it for this year, but where are you? There it is. Because I think the PNG Tuber Plus would be really good for this one because I want the tail to have a lot of movement. So I think that would be very good for it. So I have been looking at it, and I know if I saw someone made a thing, and they were like, "Yeah, it can handle up to like 80 moving parts," and I'm like, "Oh, that could be fun for shrimp. Get his little claws moving, give his antenna a little bounce. Like not fully rigged, but just a little bit extra life." Like I've been looking between because I was looking at There's also ToonTuber, which is one that like Scott Falco uses, and I had been thinking about that one. He deserves a wiggle. Yeah, he's a little wiggly worm. He deserves it. So I have been. I was in fact thinking about it. So no, that's not a matter of me getting more projects. It is already in my radar. I have been thinking about it already, because basically it's like right now I'm working on just random projects because I don't have any current commissions and oh yeah, definitely. Except he's fucking 80 feet long. He's long shrimp. He long boy. A long boy. He's stretchy like that. God, it's so funny thinking about the fact that when I started doing this meme, specifically like this outfit meme, it's been living in my ask box for so long at this point that he went from being a twink to being a DILF. Like, I think it's just one of the funniest things is like thinking about it. Like, my man's went from being snappable to being able to snap. Granted, I mean, his wife can still snap him, but that's beside the point. They're in a committed relationship. He constantly has to stop by because it's technically supposed to be TLC route. Me keeps wanting to draw shade. Oh, what you have in mind? Do it! Do it, Bringer, do it! Welcome back again. I might actually end stream soon. I'm starting to get really tired. Plus, I should probably eat something. And I have work tomorrow. I'm losing focus, and that's not good. Like, I'm sitting here trying to draw this, and then, like, I keep struggling on the feet, and I'm not keeping focused. So I do think I'm gonna stop it here for the night. Thank you guys for coming on by, and I hopefully will see y'all next week when I stream, because I will be streaming next week. I'm gonna try to start making it weekly again. I don't know if I'll have it multiple times during a week, but I'm gonna try to at least start streaming weekly again. But thank you guys so much for coming on by. Have a good night.